Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We're here to really dig into things and, find those interesting nuggets just for you. Today, we're looking at something maybe a bit unexpected, an idol management game called Shinepost Be Your Idol. This is based on a review that caught our eye from Media Mania, dated July 24th, 2025. And right off the bat, something really jumped out from this review, something kind of wild. This game, it's a Switch 2 exclusive.
Right, that's a big deal already. Launch window title, essentially.
Exactly. And the reviewer actually managed to grab a Switch 2 back on July 5th from one of those first-come, first-served sales.
Yeah.
Lucky them. But here's the kicker. They admit they went into this idol game with, zero prior knowledge. None.
Total newcomer territory.
Yet they were completely hooked, played it solid for 2 days, finished the whole thing, epilogue included, in about 9.5 hours.
That's pretty intense immersion, especially for someone outside the usual fan base.
Wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
So that really sets up our mission for this deep dive.
Absolutely. We need to unpack why. What was it about this, seemingly niche management sim that grabbed them so hard, even with the quirks the review mentions? And what does that tell us, maybe, about game design, about player engagement?
Yeah, how do you hook someone completely fresh like that? It's fascinating. Okay, so the setup is, you're an idol fan, you suddenly get rich, and bam, you start your own agency. How does it handle that managing stuff? Does it feel complicated? The review mentioned Power Pros.
It did, yeah. It sounds like they kept it pretty accessible, actually, not overwhelming. The comparison was to maybe the success mode in Power Pros or managing stress levels like in Tokimeki Memorial. Familiar ideas for some players.
Okay.
So you start with one group, 5 idols. The goal is a big live show at Budokan within 3 years. Then years 2 and 3, you bring in new members through auditions, form new groups. Up to 3 groups total over 5 years in the game.
Right. So there's a structure, but maybe not overly complex mechanics.
Exactly. Because the core appeal, it seems, was somewhere else.
And that leads to the performances, I bet. The review really seemed to focus on those.
Precisely. And this is, I think, a key insight. For some games, maybe that emotional connection, the spectacle, can outweigh minor gameplay issues. The review just raves about the idol live performances, says they really used the Switch 2's power.
How so?
Incredibly smooth character animations, really vibrant particle effects during the songs, things that just bring it alive in a way older consoles maybe couldn't quite manage. And imagine, you've trained these idols, picked their outfits, their songs, seeing them perform, the reviewer called it a truly wonderful experience.
So it was less about the gameplay of the performance, more the payoff, the emotional journey.
Absolutely. It's seeing them grow. You start small, like a little show at Tower Records. 2 years later, maybe you're filling Makuhari Arena. That's a big arc.
Yeah, that sounds compelling.
But it's also the individual girls' stories, right? Their struggles, not just as idols, but as teenagers. The reviewer found those really well done. And apparently the 3D models are super cute, very expressive. That helps you connect.
Makes sense. You get invested in them.
You really do. You want to see them succeed because you've sort of been there with them.
And it sounds like the gameplay loop supported that focus. The reviewer liked that the live shows were just for watching, appreciating, no stressful rhythm game mechanics.
Right, a conscious choice there.
And the idol training. Mostly automatic once you'd invested in the right facilities.
Yeah.
So you could just watch them develop.
Seems like it. Easy to manage, letting the narrative and characters take center stage.
And the ending apparently felt really satisfying. Like you genuinely achieved something.
It sounds like it, yeah. But it wasn't perfect. The reviewer did point out some flaws.
Oh, like what?
Well, even knowing little about idol culture, some things felt off, unrealistic. Like idols still struggling to perform 3 songs after a year of training, or a duo using the same stamina as a 5-member group. Little things like that.
Okay, things that might break the immersion a bit.
Kind of. And some strategic quirks, too. Like, the easiest way to rank up was just using 2-person songs constantly. Felt a bit gamey, maybe.
Less organic.
Yeah. And the gameplay itself apparently peaked around the 3rd year. Years 4 and 5 felt a bit like, mop-up, the review called it. Fewer big goals. And because you could reuse facilities and songs for new groups, they didn't pose as much of a challenge later on.
Gotcha. So some balancing issues towards the end.
Seems that way.
Okay, so summing it up then. It feels like the takeaway is, despite those flaws, those sort of unrealistic bits or late game pacing issues, the strength of the characters, their stories, and those really impressive live performances, that just carried the whole thing, made the bumps feel minor.
That's exactly the impression. The core emotional experience was powerful enough to overcome the mechanical weaknesses. Character and presentation won out.
Which really says something, doesn't
Yeah.
it? And hey, there's replayability too. Apparently, you can only debut 15 idols out of 23 candidates in one run.
Right, so there's a built-in reason to go back for a second playthrough, see the other characters.
Makes sense.
And there's one more thing the reviewer mentioned that I found really insightful.
Yeah.
They were glad it was a buy-to-play game. Pay once, get the whole experience, not a free-to-play gotcha thing. They explicitly said they probably wouldn't have touched it if it was full of microtransactions.
Interesting. So the business model itself was a positive factor.
It seems so. And it makes you think, doesn't it? In a world where free-to-play is everywhere, what does the success of a game like this, a premium paid experience, tell us about what players really value, what actually builds that deep connection, that sort of heartfelt investment, rather than just, chasing the next unlock? Something to consider.